Hello and welcome everyone to today's presentation, which is how to trade commodity currencies, presented by myself, Phil Carr, at the Gold and Silver Club. So during today's session, we will of course be going through live market analysis. We'll go through a watch list of trade ideas, analysis of where gold, silver, crude oil, the commodity currencies are heading next. We'll be answering questions and of course providing live support as well. So before we get into it, let me introduce you to the Gold and Silver Club. The Gold and Silver Club is regarded as the go-to authority on commodities trading. As internationally respected experts, our analysis and our opinions on the metals, energy, the cryptocurrency markets, they are routinely sought by major financial television channels and publications, which include Bloomberg, Reuters, CNBC, the Financial Times, the Wall Street Journal. Our team of experts has trained and mentored thousands of traders from all over the world to invest in the financial markets with confidence using our exclusive strategies. For further information on the Gold and Silver Club and our live trading room service, please do go to www.jointhelivetradingroom.com. I would also encourage you to go over to our YouTube channel as well. From there, you will also be able to get access to our weekly reports as well. We produce those at the weekends and also midweek too. There'll be a fresh report coming out later on this evening. So make sure you also subscribe to the YouTube channel and of course subscribe to Binary channel as well. That way you can rewatch the recordings afterwards. So the Gold and Silver Club YouTube channel and binary.com YouTube channel as well. Okay, so let's get into it. The commodity currencies. So, of course, when we're talking about commodity currencies, we are referring to the name given to currencies of countries which depend heavily on the export of raw materials for income. So, in the foreign exchange market, commodity currencies, that refers to the Australian dollar, the Canadian dollar, New Zealand dollar, the Norwegian krona, South African rand, the Brazilian real, and the Russian ruble. So Canada, they produce a large quantity of commodities, including natural gas, timber, crude oil, and that makes Canada's economy very sensitive to commodities prices. And in Australia, they're one of the world's most natural resource rich countries, have large holdings of gold, iron ore, and also coal and aluminium. And as a impact of that, or correlation, often you will see gold prices have an effect on Australian dollar, US dollar as well. Broadly speaking, it's not always 100% correlation, but a lot of the time when gold is rallying, you'll also tend to see the commodity currencies get well supported as well. Now, the Australian dollar, with Australia, it accounts for a third of global iron ore and gold production. So when you are trading Australian dollar, it's a good idea to just keep an eye on the prices of iron ore, gold, also copper to a certain extent as well. It means Australia's fiscal revenue is very sensitive to changes in metal prices. So based on the intermarket relationships, the Australian dollar is tightly correlated to iron ore and gold prices. When iron ore and gold prices go up, the Australian dollar, US dollar goes up, and when iron ore and gold prices go down, broadly speaking, the Australian dollar also tends to weaken as well. We'll have a look at that shortly. When we go over to the charts, we can have a look at some of the correlations which are playing out in the markets as well. Then we have US dollar, Canadian dollar. Canada is the sixth largest oil producer in the world, about a quarter of whose exports are crude oil. This makes Canada's economy very sensitive to oil prices. And again, fluctuations in oil prices can be traded via US dollar, Canadian dollar. So for example, today we've got oil selling off. We've got a number of CAD crosses which are surging in price at the moment. And that's the general inverse correlation you want to watch out for. So there's an inverse correlation between US dollar CAD and oil. So when oil prices go up, US dollar CAD goes down, and when oil prices go down, US dollar CAD goes up. Now, it's not always 100% correlation, but the majority of the time, this correlation is quite strong, and you can take advantage of moves with oil via the inverse correlation with the US dollar, Canadian dollar. Now, there's been quite a lot of activities in the financial markets today. We've got a number of positions on, which I'll talk you through as well. I'll go over to the charts, I'll talk you through the correlations, and I'll go through, generally speaking, the trade ideas, commodity currencies. We've got a couple of positions on at the moment already. We can talk about commodities, and feel free to contribute if there are any questions at all during this part of the session. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll switch over to my screen. So you should be able to see that very shortly. Let's just check that's all okay. Okay, fantastic. So you can see that okay. And let's just check, bring you over to my charts. Yep, fantastic. Thanks very much, Sharice. Okay, perfect. Right. First of all, we mentioned this actually on our weekend report, the commodity report. If you go over to YouTube, again, go over to the Gold and Silver Club channel. We went through this thoroughly, that oil was a sell. We've been selling this since the beginning of the week. And in fact, we're moving into really nice profit now on our sell short on crude oil. Crude oil right now is trading at 73 US dollars per barrel. Now, what I would also look at is some of the inverse correlations like New Zealand dollar CAD, which the expectation is when you see this sort of sell-off on oil, you should get supported on some of the CAD crosses. So we have basically got a buy, and we're buying New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar. We are selling into crude oil. I'm actually looking for a deeper profit target than this. I'm looking for the price to come all the way back towards a monthly pivot, which is approximately at 71.22. We've got a much higher entry price than where the price is right now. We've been selling since the beginning of the week, but it's starting to really pick up momentum to the downside. The expectation is that we'll develop into a V-shaped reversal pattern sell-off here. We'll break down and we'll come all the way back down towards the monthly pivot there. So I am still targeting approximately 71 US dollars per barrel. And that's the major zone which I'm looking at for oil to come to next. We've got oil inventory data, which instead of being on Wednesday at 3:30 London time, it will be tomorrow at 4 o'clock London time because of the bank holiday in the US earlier on this week. So as a result, we're looking for oil inventory data not until tomorrow. But oil sell short is moving really well. We had the sell signal into the close on Friday, and that's just really picked up momentum to the downside today. So that's worked out really well for our sell short. We're long the New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar, which is also starting to break out to the upside. I haven't looked at US dollar CAD, but in fact, just from the pricing there, without even looking at it, I can tell you that is going up. So let's have a look. There we go. US dollar, Canadian dollar, as you would expect, right? If you've got a sell-off with oil, you expect US dollar, Canadian dollar to rally. That would be the inverse correlation. And again, without looking at them, we should be up on Australian dollar CAD. Yep, there we go. That is also rallying as a result of weakness in oil. And in fact, CAD Swiss franc we were shorting earlier on today. Very similar price structure. We've had our profit target on that already, but very similar price structure to oil. That's the expectation. And CAD Japanese yen should also be breaking down. Let's have a look at that. Yep, there we go. So basically, the expectation is that CAD will weaken the correlation with oil, and you can trade that either via selling oil, you sell CAD Swiss franc, or you sell CAD Japanese yen, or you go long US dollar CAD or Australian dollar CAD or New Zealand dollar CAD. So we're getting some nice momentum at the moment with that trade. So basically, to give you a bit of a heads up, we're short oil right now. We're long on New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar. In fact, on a commodity currency, we have a position at the moment on the New Zealand dollar, US dollar. We are long from gold as well earlier on this week too. I'm still looking for more upside on gold, looking for quite a tight range here. Approximately 1210 target. I'm looking at 1180 to hold on gold this week. So this is the support zone and potentially more follow through. If you haven't seen this already, this is a very interesting chart. This is the S&P 500 today. It's had a really large breakdown in price all the way back down here towards the lower Keltner channels. And where we're finding support right now around the 100-day moving average, that's had quite a significant sell-off today, about double its normal daily range here. So we haven't seen a big sell-off like that, about a 50-point range since about March. So that's been quite significant today on the S&P 500. Broadly speaking, when oil sells off, so will you'll also see that correlation play out. Also, with the stock market can also weaken when we have these sell-offs like that. And in fact, let me just bring out the just have a look quickly at what the sentiment, some of the bigger movers. Yeah, Euro CAD. So I'm just having a look at the sentiment at the moment. The biggest sell-off today has been CAD Swiss franc, which we sold short. The markets which are getting a bit of a bid here, Euro CAD, okay, so that you would expect Euro CAD to be breaking out. Okay, that's interesting. We'll go over to that in a sec. Pound is up today. What else are we seeing right now? We're seeing, generally speaking, pound euro crosses all catching a bid. Let's go through it together then. I've got my positions on, which we've just been really managing today, which are mainly the commodity currencies. But I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll have a scan through everything just to give you a bit of a feel of what we can look at for trade ideas. Let's look at also some maybe new trade ideas as we get towards the end of the session now, as well as we get towards the close later on today. So, okay, to recap with you. Let me also bring out Australian dollar, of course. That will have some correlation with gold. So Australian dollar, there's a buy signal on that at the moment as well, actually. Okay, let me just take off some of these levels. Okay, right. And New Zealand dollar as well. Okay, so basically Australian dollar, I don't have a direct long position on this at the moment. I'm long on gold, but we do have a long position on the New Zealand dollar, which is in profit at the moment. That's up over 20 pips right now. I am selling at the moment. I'm selling into crude oil, which is in profit. New Zealand dollar CAD, I'm long this market at the moment. Gold, we also have a long position on. Euro as well, nice little breakout today. I mean, that's moving inversely to the dollar, which is selling off at the moment. This is the dollar index. So the dollar is breaking down. Euro is up. I mean, euro is a buy signal basically, and there might be argument to actually getting a long later on today on that. Yeah, it could get away with about 100 pip stop on that. I might look at euro for a long later on into the close. What else are we looking at here, which looks good at the moment? Australian dollar CAD I like as well. We're going through that on the live trading room yesterday. Went long New Zealand dollar CAD instead, but pretty similar trades to be fair. What else is looking good right now? CAD Swiss franc already sold short. I may get back into that on a retrace entry. US dollar Swiss franc is a sell short as well. So we've got a sell short developing on that. 2 US dollar Japanese yen rolling over again there. CAD Japanese yen is a bit overdone at the moment. US dollar CAD will probably get a move around the 1.3 zone, is holding some resistance. We might be able to break out of that zone tomorrow if we see another sell-off around the oil inventories. Yeah, Euro Swiss franc, Euro strength is seeing a bit of a support on that. Euro CAD, nice breakout today on that. This actually that move is already completed, but we'll see what else. Yeah, pound CAD as well, also nice breakout. Just checking that we're not going to miss any other setups which are potentially developing as well. No, that's all looking quite good right now. Yeah, nice support for platinum there as well. Okay, right. So let's go back over some of the. Actually, I'll tell you what we'll do. We can go through and also just give you a bit of a view of the narratives which are occurring in the market at the moment too. Okay, let's just bring out foreign exchange. Okay, there you go. So we've got the commodity currencies, obviously the Australian dollar and the New Zealand dollar inching higher today for the second session on Wednesday as US bond yields eased back a little and prices for key commodity exports benefited from Chinese demand. Again, there you can see where commodities having some impact as well with the prices there. So overall commodity being supported will help Australian dollar and the New Zealand dollar as well. Gold price ease, they did earlier on in the session, but they are getting a bid at the moment. We're seeing some nice support come in for gold. Again, expecting 1180 to hold this week on gold. My overall target is $1,210 this week for gold. If we go over to crude oil, we're seeing a bit of a sell-off now, pick up some momentum to the downside here with oil prices slumping 2%. Wall Street slides, you got that correlation between the two oil prices and also the stock markets as well. So oil prices dropping 2% today as US equity markets broadly fell, even though energy traders worried about shrinking supply from Iran due to US sanctions. You see, this was interesting. We covered this in detail on our weekend report. What we observed on the close on Friday was that the hedge funds and money managers have reduced their net long positions on crude oil to the lowest level in 12 months. And that was a bit of a factor there as to we could start to see more profit taking escalate at the beginning of this week. From a technical point of view, we already had sell signals on after we broke out to 4-year highs last week. with crude oil. The oil inventory data last Wednesday saw a big oversupply as well with US oil. So our overall positioning shifted into sell short towards the end of last week, and over the course of the open from Monday was where we got into a sell short on oil, and that's really picking up some good momentum to the downside now. So it's now pulled back over 2%. I'm still looking at a bit more downside on oil this week, but we've got the crude oil inventory data that comes out tomorrow, and that will be coming out at 4 o'clock London time. So overall, we've got some certainly some weakness at the moment with the energies. Stock markets are selling off, broadly speaking, as well. We're seeing some support come into gold right now, although this news story hasn't updated just yet. It's about 3 hours ago, but gold is starting to get some support too. So we're getting, broadly speaking, a bit of an upward tick here in gold prices at the moment. But yeah, the major narrative right now is going to be revolving around the market, or the stock market sell-off that we're seeing at the moment, and the S&P 500, of course, which is selling off quite significantly today. Should be read across the board here. Yeah, there you go, in terms of the moves that we're seeing right now with the S&P 500, 2,829 now. So yeah, technology, industrials, energy, consumer, nearly all of the companies, the industries, that the sectors that the stock market, the S&P 500 is made up of, they're all down today. So quite a significant move actually on the S&P 500. I'm not directly shorting the S&P 500 at the moment. I'm looking at some of the correlations here. So for example, you will get a bit of correlation with crude oil. It'll be interesting though, because if that picks up momentum to the downside, you may see a further follow through move here with certainly gold to the upside. We might start to see it catch a bid later on in the session, or certainly tomorrow as well. So that's really what we're looking at right now. The overall narratives in the market are US dollar negative. They're supportive for commodities apart from oil. As a result, my trade positioning right now is favoring more upside with Australian dollar, with New Zealand dollar, with Australian dollar CAD, which is breaking out quite nicely, New Zealand dollar CAD as well, which is having a nice little lift today too. So I'm looking at potential for more upside on those. The euro may get a breakout later on in the session as well, so I would keep a lookout for that too. But there's quite a lot of trade opportunities in the market today. The market's certainly not without opportunities right now. And again, just going back to a commodity currency point of view, when you are observing the moves within the markets, you want to be looking at the following. So crude oil, inverse correlation with US dollar, Canadian dollar. You want to be looking at the crosses, such as if US dollar CAD has already moved, you can look at Euro CAD, New Zealand dollar CAD, Australian dollar CAD, all of the correlations, or CAD Japanese yen, CAD Swiss franc. Broadly speaking, when gold is up, you will also tend to see Australian dollar and New Zealand dollar up as well. It's not always 100% correlation, but most of the time they do tend to track each other quite well. So gold is the leader there. So if gold is selling off, normally Australian dollar and New Zealand dollar will suffer. And when gold is going up, normally Australian dollar and New Zealand dollar will get well supported. Okay, so I hope that helps, guys. I hope that gives you a little bit of additional clarity when you're trading commodity currencies, what you want to be looking at, some of the trade ideas that we're looking at right now as well. If you do want to be kept up real time with the trades that we're taking and the trade management, we talk a lot about the positions that we're in during these sessions and on the commodities corner as well. But if you actually want to get the real time alert when we get into the trade management, when we execute the position, you can do so via the private members live trading room. Very simply, you get the real-time trade alerts. These are delivered via SMS, WhatsApp, and also email. You have access to mentorship, expert advice. You get in-depth market analysis and trusted insights. So, of course, you can know earlier how to execute a trade, act quicker to maximize your return on trade opportunities in the market. So very simply, to make an application, you just want to go to www.jointhelivetradingroom.com, fill in the application, and we will, of course, get in touch with you ASAP. And do make sure, again, that you do go over and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll be putting out another report later on today, which will be focused on crude oil, which will go through quite a lot of detail on that. But you also want to make sure you're getting our weekend reports as well. Those are really important to get all of those. And of course, you get those complimentary just via being a subscriber on YouTube too. Okay, fantastic. So I think that's it for today's session, guys. We'll definitely catch you back here for the next one. Make sure you go over to binary.com and sign up for all the additional webinars we're doing over the course of this month as well. We'll be doing special trainings on MetaTrader 5, how to trade Forex on the MetaTrader 5 platform, how to trade cryptocurrencies alongside other markets that we're covering as well, including commodities too. So make sure you subscribe to those webinars as well if you'd like to get additional training. Okay, fantastic. So with that, I wish you all the best, good trading, and have a fantastic day. And thank you very much to Sharice and binary.com for hosting today's session. Okay, thanks again, guys. All the best and have a fantastic day. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.